Well, great news, everybody. ESPN now has even more control over the future of college football than they already had. Welcome into the channel. I am John Kurtz. Here on this channel, we talk college football, college basketball, and conference realignment all day, every day, and we do it with a Big 12 perspective. If you are a college football fan of any kind, a college sports fan of any kind, whatever conference, come one, come all, great live shows on Wednesday and Sunday. So make sure that you get subscribed so that you can get into those live shows. It is very lively, tons of discussion with college football fans from all across the country. Subscribe, click that bell so you know what it is that I'm going live. If you could like this video, I would really appreciate that. And let me know how you feel in the comments about ESPN having so much control over college football right now. You okay with it, or is this a bad thing? Let me know in the comments. You can also support the channel on Venmo at John-Kurtz-4. Here is what we have. We have a report, this time not from ESPN, about the future of ESPN in the college football playoff. It comes from The Athletic. Andrew Marchand, who is the best in the business when it comes to sports media reporting. He has this story. ESPN and the college football playoff are in agreement on a 6-year, $7.8 billion extension that will make the network the home of the 12-team tournament through the 2031-32 season. Of course, once college football playoff leaders sort out the specifics of how the postseason's new era will operate. Sources briefed on the deal told The Athletic. So Marchand having the scoop here, no surprise at all. Again, I mentioned he is best in the business. If you're curious about the 6 years, $7.8 billion, which seems like a ridiculous figure, it's going to be about $1.3 billion per year. And that's what that math would work out to for ESPN to get the playoff in this deal. The full contract's completion is still contingent on college football playoff leaders finalizing details of the expanded format in the wake of the implosion of the Pac-12. And yes, that's the other hilarious part about this. Not only is it, hey, we're not actually going to shop it out to different networks, a la the NFL and the Super Bowl, right? We just watched CBS do the Super Bowl. They do not do it every year. It rotates. You have many entities involved in televising the NFL. That's not the way that the college football playoff decided to go here. But nothing can even be finalized until they actually figure out what the heck they're actually doing with it. They've got to figure out what the format is, who will be competing, how are we going to do this? Nothing is guaranteed beyond the next 2 years. This has been a big part of the story recently with the Big Ten and the SEC teaming up for their joint advisory board. There is a lot of fear that they could decide to take their ball and go home and just do their own college football playoff with just them. That's what we're talking about here. Until that gets sorted out and we know that there's going to be a format, a playoff of some kind that hopefully will include everybody here, this deal can't be finalized. But the agreement, the handshake agreement, apparently is now in place. Maybe I shouldn't call it a handshake agreement. Andrew Marchand is the one that has the story. I'll shut up and keep reading you more details. The College Football Playoff Management Committee and Board of Managers have meetings scheduled for next week and continue to work through the complicated process of settling their outstanding issues. The ESPN deal will not be ratified until the commissioners and presidents vote on the structure and financials of the expanded college football playoff. The financials being one of the biggest hangups here and the important part of it. Kirk Schultz, for instance, is not wanting to sign off on anything without assurances about the Pac-2 having a seat at the table, getting some of this money. That was a struggle to get anything for SMU as they made the jump from Group of 5 to Power 5. Now these schools are kind of going from Power 5 to Group of 5. They want to maintain their rights and their money. Kirk Schultz is putting up a stand. I can't really blame him, even if it is annoying, as his schools have just been left behind. But that is one of the issues. How much money is going to go around? What will the distribution be? The SEC, according to another story, has pointed out that they have had 40% of the college football playoff participants and only received 17% of the money. So they're going to want a bigger cut than the Big 12 and the ACC. We know that. Back to Marchand's article, ESPN has 2 years remaining on its current deal, which carries an average payment of $608 million per year and includes the college football playoff semifinals and championship. So it's going to go from $608 million per year, $608 million, to $1.3 billion, basically doubling in cost here for ESPN, adding this extra inventory of an expanded college football playoff. 6-year extension will cost $1.3 billion per year, the price at which an ESPN news story previously reported the network was discussing a new deal with the college football playoff. Yes, we had this. I believe it was a Heather Dinich article that stated, hey, by the way, from ESPN, ESPN is deep in negotiations to land the college football playoff broadcasting rights. Funny how that worked as well as everything in college athletics now has you doing a double take and being like, what are we doing? But here it is. Over the final 2 years of its current agreement, ESPN holds the rights to the new set of first-round games held at on-campus sites, in addition to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and championship games. It's not yet known what the fee of the first-round games will be for the next two seasons. Over the course of the contract, ESPN will have the ability to sublicense games, meaning another network or digital player could air playoff games, but it would be at Disney-owned ESPN's discretion. This is a key part of this. So the idea initially that had been floated out there was, and a lot of people thought this was a good idea, you'll make more money by getting different networks involved, having ESPN buy it for a couple years, having NBC buy a couple years, splitting it up. Maybe it's one person gets the final, one person gets the semis, the quarters, etc. Instead, it's all ESPN, but they could still give some of the games to other networks. That doesn't mean that dream is dead. It just means it will all be at ESPN's discretion because they own all of the broadcast rights here. So they could say, hey, Turner, CBS, whoever, you pay us money, we will allow you to broadcast this game. That's what could still happen. I just don't love that it's all at ESPN's discretion. Why do we continue to give ESPN so much power over the college football world? I know Fox certainly has its fair share of it right now too, but I would have preferred to see this get spread out a little bit. It just is hard to really trust any of the networks, but in particular ESPN, with the value of the sport, the future of the sport here, and something so important. But alas, ESPN got it. The deal would give ESPN control over nearly all Division I college sports championships outside of the NCAA tournament, which is televised by CBS, TNT, and their sister networks and platforms through 2032. In early January, ESPN and the NCAA announced a new 8-year, $920 million contract that gives the network the rights to 40 championships, including the women's tournament. That extension begins in September. So, yeah, that was a story that maybe got underreported or under-discussed here on this channel. But, yeah, ESPN and the NCAA got in bed for a bunch of the championships. Now the college football playoff is going to be all under the ESPN umbrella. So they control the broadcast rights to almost everything. Now, it's a pretty big one that they don't have in the NCAA tournament, the men's basketball tournament. But almost everything else, it's going to be running through ESPN. The current college football playoff contract with ESPN is set to run through 2025-26. After a 4-person subcommittee recommended the new 12-team format in June 2021, it took more than 2 years of stop-and-start negotiations to get the unanimous approval from the board of managers, group of presidents, and chancellors who oversee the organization. Outstanding issues still to be settled for the college football playoff's new 6-year contract include the ongoing discussions of future governance, revenue distribution, and access. Commissioners are working through all 3 areas and expected to discuss them at a meeting next week in Dallas. Yeah, we have meeting after meeting after meeting. Over and over again, we get meetings from everybody involved with the college football playoff. Nobody can ever seem to get on the same page and make something happen. But here's yet another story telling us we will have more meetings with everybody regarding this. But when it happens, it will be ESPN that puts this on your TV screen, or at least controls where it is going to be on your TV screen. So just great. ESPN winning again. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you leery of this? How do you feel about ESPN having all of this control? Please like the video as well. That really helps me. Totally free way to support the channel. You can support the channel on Venmo at John-Kurtz-4. But even if you're not going to do that, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you check out the live shows, which are typically Wednesday and Sunday. A little bit different this week because I am traveling. But we got live shows on Wednesdays and Sundays. They are a blast and very, very lively. So college football fans, come one, come all. Appreciate you guys. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.